Hello, friends. I hope you and your families are doing well on this week before the week of Christmas. I'm sure a lot of preparations are being made. It's a wonderful time of year. Even in this difficult year of 2020, it still is great to be able to enter back into some of the normal rhythms of the Christmas season. There's a certain comfort that comes from that. I was thinking about that during our Christmas concert a couple weeks ago, just how comforting and strengthening it was to be able to do something that felt normal in the midst of this difficult year. At the same time, Advent, I think, is really important in a year like 2020 because Advent represents longing, and longing means that things are not as they should be. And so I've been thinking about this recently that 2020 has highlighted this for all of us, but the reality is that the Christmas season is often a season of longing and sorrow and grief for many people on just a normal year. Think about those who've lost loved ones, particularly those who've lost loved ones close to Christmas or Thanksgiving. It adds an element of pain in the midst of the joy. And sometimes I think it's easy to forget that. We enter into this wonderful season. We talk about it being the most wonderful time of the year, and we do our celebrations, and it's very festive. And it's easy to forget that there are people in the midst of that who sometimes are hurting very deeply because they're feeling the pain of loss, whether through the death of a loved one, maybe through family turmoil that it's just very difficult emotionally, um, maybe because of other things that they've experienced that year, and it just makes it very difficult to enter into the joy and celebration of Christmas. One of the things that I think is helpful for us is to remember that Christmas reminds us that we have a Savior who meets us in the midst of our sorrow, and he deals gently with us. One of the often overlooked prophecies of Christ's coming is in Isaiah 42. And it's interesting what we are told about Jesus in this prophecy. So, Isaiah 42, verses 1 through 3, listen to what we're told. Behold, my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen, in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit upon him. He will bring forth justice to the nations. He will not cry aloud or lift up his voice or make it heard in the street. A bruised reed he will not break, and a faintly burning wick he will not quench. I love that last line. A bruised reed he will not break, and a faintly burning wick he will not quench. Maybe you feel like a bruised reed right now. Maybe you feel like a faintly burning wick. And the Jesus we celebrate and whose coming and advent we celebrate every Christmas season is the Jesus who deals gently with us. He will not break a bruised reed. He will not quench a faintly burning wick, but rather he seeks to restore us, to strengthen us, to care for us. He doesn't always promise to remove the pain or remove the circumstances, but he does promise us himself, that he will be with us, that he will give to us his grace, his strength, his mercy, his hope. And I think it's important for us to remember that if we are the ones hurting, but I think it's also important for us to remember that if God has placed us near someone who's hurting. And so I just want to encourage you, church family, to, in the midst of celebration, to remember that we celebrate a Savior who draws near to the hurting, and to perhaps be his voice, his instrument in the midst of this season to reach out to someone who may be struggling with grief or sorrow, who maybe has lost a loved one, who maybe has gone through difficult turmoil related to 2020 or just life in general. But to, in a sense, gather in those who might feel like they're on the margins during this time of year, I think is very important, and as part of the church um, celebrating this not just as kind of a festive thing that is all cheer and joy, which it should be, and we want it to be, but something that also gives us an opportunity to weep with those who weep, and to remind them that the good news of the gospel is that we have a Savior who draws near us when we weep. And so I would just encourage all of us to pray about who are the people. Maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's an extended family member, maybe it's someone within our church family that the Lord is prompting you to reach out to pick up the phone, offer a word of encouragement, write a letter, send a text, It just reminds them that you're thinking of them, that you're praying for them, that you want them to feel loved and included. God bless. I hope you have a great week. Also want to invite you to our Christmas Eve service which is on Thursday, December 24th, 6:30 p.m. It'll be a great time together. Hope you can make it.